remote participation. I don't know if this is, okay. A reminder that persons who would like to listen or view this meeting while in progress may either attend here in the City Council chamber or use any of our social media platforms. At this time, can you please join me in the pledge? Councilors, can I have a motion to approve the minutes from the March 11th, 2026 meeting?
Motion to approve.
Motion has been made by the vice chair, seconded by the council president. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the ayes have it. First item, we have item 79. Can we please close the door? Can someone close the door? Thank you. 79-26, year-to-date budget review, the fire department. Here with us, we have our CAFO, Ramona Ceballos, and also our fire chief, Pat Delaney. CAFO, you have the floor.
Good evening, councilors. Ramona Ceballos, CAFO. We have had a series of presentations for the year-to-date actual for our major departments, and tonight we are happy to present the fire department. They will be presenting the actual year-to-date for expenses as well as revenues. The format is one you're familiar with, which is the same as the one in the budget book. It shows the actual for this year, for last year, and it shows it by the different subdivisions in that department. With no further comments, I will pass it on to the fire chief.
Thank you. Good evening, councilors. Patrick Delaney, Fire Chief, 65 Lowell Street.
Good evening, chief.
Good evening.
So do you want to give us an overall? I know we have, do you want to get right into the questions, or do you want, how do you?
However you'd like to
All
proceed.
right, so as a council, do you want to get right into the questions? I think we had ample time to review the details. So I guess pass it on to the vice chair. Vice chair.
Just a suggestion, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Allowing the opportunity and the space for the chief to maybe give some sort of highlights, if there's anything from the budget where, if anything of importance or priority that you would.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Sorry, I forgot
Anything
about
of importance or priority that maybe you want to speak on or touch on, and then that we could segue into asking questions on anything specific regarding the budget.
Yeah, that sounds great. So I started acting in April. I became permanent in August, taking a comprehensive look at the budget. We're doing very good in all areas. We're right where we're projected to be. Our overtime is high for what we were budgeted for, and I have some reasons and some visuals for that. But overall, the fire department, men and women of the Lawrence Fire Department, are working very hard, and we're making do. I think we, like everything, we could always do a little bit better with everything, and I think we could actually use more money in the future. We could probably use some more staffing. I think we are overall, I think we're under budgeted, and I think we're understaffed compared to similar communities in the Commonwealth.
Thank you. Let's actually get right into the overtime, because that is a hefty amount there. And
That's-
you
yes.
mentioned that you have additional supporting documents for that for us to look at?
I do. I could hand some stuff out, so kind of gives you a better idea of what we're looking at, if I may.
Yep. Thank you. Oh, I also, Chief, I saw the post, congratulations on the new firefighters that are joining, that just graduated
Yes,
from the
that-
academy.
That's a great segue into that. We are getting some help. We just had 6 members graduate from the Mass Fire Academy, and we had the number 1, I believe the number 1, 2, and possibly the 3 overall candidates, and it's a big a big thing for us. It's a great thing for the community, for the Lawrence Fire Department. We were very well showcased because we had 6 candidates. We had the number 1 candidate. 2 of our recruits have their fathers are on the force, so they got taken up as well. And then Methuen was right after, and 2 Methuen firefighters are also, their fathers are on Lawrence Fire Department. So Lawrence, we showcased very well at the event, and it was something to really make the city proud.
Nice. We're happy to hear that. All right, Chief, walk us through the overtime.
Okay, so the overtime, we were budgeted for $1 million. And when I came in last year, looking for the budget, I believe my statement was, I'm here because we're not going to this isn't enough to get us through. That I said at the time, hopefully it's me that is back in front of you next year, possibly looking for more money. And I was pretty right on where I said we're possibly, out of the 26 payrolls, that we're probably going to go through what we were budgeted for in about the 13th payroll. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Basically, right now, we have 124 members on the fire department. Right now, we could not use 24. Okay, so this is the first sheet. If you follow by, we took about everybody's names, but that's all our positions. Anybody that's in colored that you see, we're not able to use, okay? That's because they were out long-term sick, they were out ILD, and they were in the academy, which one thing has changed since this was made is we did have 6 graduate from the academy. So I think as going on, we get some more people back injured in the line of duty, we're going to be able to close those gaps. If you go over to the second page, it kind of shows it by group. So we have 4 groups in the fire department. Where the red line is, we have a minimum manning of 24. I believe that we should try to, in the future, bring that number up to at least 27, get another piece of apparatus. So, but right now, we have 24 is our minimum manning. That means how many people on shift. That includes the deputy, who's the incident commander. It also includes 2 fire alarm operators. So 21 really men and women on duty. So where you see the red line across here, that's where we start. So before anybody use contractual paid time off, or before anybody is ill or uses a personal day, which they deserve and they have earned, that's where we start. So if you see group 1, if they have 1 member call in, that's we're going to have to fill that with overtime. So contractually, we're allowing 9 firefighters off. And any given day or night, there's at least 9 members taking vacation time, which is allowed. Then, we all have families. We some of our times our family members get sick, or we get sick, and sometimes they have to call out. The fire department is a little bit different. If I pull even a hamstring or something like that, I may be able to come into another job, but coming into the fire department is difficult. So even something happens, you roll an ankle or something like that. Some of our young kids playing basketball, sometimes they get injured. So there's injured in the line of duty, and then we have some people, if you look on the other sheet, injured, sick leave on their own time, or injured in the line of duty. So a lot of times, if we bring that number up, a lot of times we're hiring, 25 members a day, and it's really no rhyme or reason for it to just be an ordinary Saturday in March, not too much going on. There's 9 firefighters out for the day, 9 out for the night on vacation. That's 18. Maybe you take 1 off. That may be, let's say, 17. Then you could have 2 or 3 members that call in ill. It really jumps up pretty quick. So it's not unusual for us, for any given shift, to have to hire for the day, and 11 for the day, 11 for the night. And I think some of the things where we could slow that down is we could hire more. So right now, we're budgeted for just under 30, 29.75, so we'll call it 30. If we have 24 people that we can't use, that's 6, 6, 6. So before we even start, on an average, it's 24. And again, that's before 9 people are allowed off the day, 9 people are contractually allowed off the night, people calling ill, and they have personal days that we can't deny a personal day, which they have 3 of those. So I guess some of the things would be, again, I think we're underfunded to some communities around us. I think North Andover is about half our size. They're budgeted for 1.6. Haverhill has, I believe, 67,000 people, and their overtime budget is $3.5 million in Haverhill. So sometimes it's a workbook. I think I mentioned before, some people use it as a strategy. They keep their numbers low, and they find it, conducive to just hire the overtime, because there is a cost of hiring firefighters and getting their gear. The gear with the PFAS and everything is getting very, very expensive, as a lot of our goods and a lot of our services. Everything is climbing. I'm grateful to have hired 12 firefighters, and we just got 6 out of the academy. We have 2 more in the academy. I plan on, we're sending 3 in May, and then I think 1 more in September. We're trying to get some work out of them where we're training them at fire alarm, and then they could be fire alarm operators, and then we could get a firefighter who's trained off the truck until these other men and women are waiting to attend the Mass Academy. So it's really just about hiring. I've done a couple things for anybody who was called in sick more than what I thought was an allotted time. I kind of did as a well-being check, make sure that everybody's okay. So each individual I've called into my office, and number one, just to check how they're doing, if they have any issues, they have any problems, let them know the fire department supports them. We have employee action assistance program in the city offered, let them know that we could help them in any way. Per the administration, we're looking to do some stuff with how we choose PTO, paid time off, that was put out through personnel, and we're going to start enforcing that, which hasn't been enforced probably in 8-10 years. That could, to tell you the truth, have an adverse effect if you're not allowing, we have a lot of vacation time, but if you're not allowing somebody to use that day for a week to 2 weeks, it's sometimes that could cause an issue. But that's what we've been asked to do, and that's what I plan on doing. I'm also looking to start a wellness program and make sure that our people are doing good, and they're eating right, and they're exercising, and they're being good to themselves. And but a lot of these injuries, it's not because of that. There's falls. There's I've said it before. Firefighting is it could be a time of dangerous job. They're climbing off and on the apparatus all day long. They're moving around a lot of equipment. We're carrying a lot of people and for medicals down from higher floors. So that's really the overtime. Again, we have a lot of overtime, but I think it's because we've been underfunded. It's just
Chief,
not
or
going to
I
cut
don't know
it.
if you can answer this, or if the CAFO can answer this. What is the projected end-of-year deficit, June 30th?
I could
From now-
answer that.
Okay.
We're looking at possibly a little bit under 800,000, but I
As a
believe some of
deficit.
that is from severance. I think the CAFO could speak to that, where the severance, they have a plan for a severance we weren't allowed to budget for.
Before we get into that,
Yep.
Are there any questions pertaining to what we just heard at this moment before we continue? Council President.
So, Chief, over the years, I have had this discussion with the department when it comes to the overtime. That was at one point the administration decided not to, different administration decided not to bring this up on the budget. Instead, they preferred to bring it up as part of the free cash allocation. And for a couple of occasions, I will say over 4 times, we have approved extra funding for the overtime. And at that time, something that happened was that the hiring was basically no hiring of any firefighters at the moment, or not a significant hiring. So we justify the lack of hiring with the overtime. But we get into a point that it is not necessarily hiring, because we've been getting new firefighters into the force. And I don't see the correlationship between reducing the overtime and the new firefighters that are coming into the force. And, it is difficult to have this discussion because it's public safety, and anybody that engage into that right away tell them to, oh, you're not supporting public safety. But we need to support public safety in a way that it is also it's a budgetary restriction that we have throughout the city of Lawrence. So, and the city is unique. We depend on the state aid on many occasions for education, for many other situations, including grants and so far, so on. So basically, if I don't see the correlationship between new hires and overtime, what's my incentive as a council to go ahead and hire more?
Well, I think, Council, you have a great point. There's a couple different ways to handle it. I think one of the best is to hire more, but when we hire somebody, the 6 that we just got out of the academy, when we had the event on Essex Street, the block party on Essex Street, they were working then. So if you remember back to that day, I think that we had that in September, they were on the fire department that day. I'm not able to get a name at the Massachusetts Fire Academy unless I get a name. So we have to go through personnel. We have to hire that person. When we hire that person, then we let the academy know we have this member we want to go. Then it's probably 5 to 6 months before that member gets in there. And then once that member gets in there, it takes another 10 weeks. And during that 10 weeks, we also are obligated contractually to pay them overtime, which is each member is 10 and a half hours a week. So while they're in the academy, they're not counting against that number. They deserve it. They're up very early. They're home late. They're studying. They probably deserve a little bit more, but we're also paying them overtime. But I hired them way back in September. Sunday was the first day that we got some work out of them. We got them onto fire trucks. We're trying to do some other things like hire them at fire alarm. Years ago, you used to be able to say, Lawrence wants 4 spots, okay? And the academy would say, great, 4. When I came on, I started 1 week. I went into Ben's uniform. I got my uniform. We rode around. We met a couple people. You're right off to the academy. The Massachusetts doesn't do that anymore. They make us wait 5 to 6 months. We just hired Diana Velasquez just got in. I can't get her in till September, October. So
yes, Chief, but the point is that now we have the new firefighters, but I don't see the plans coming up to the future. In regard to the new members, what is the correlationship for the future? Because I understand that they get hired before, but what is the correlationship for the future when it comes to the reduction of the overtime because you have more personnel?
Well,
And
so
the correlationship got to be around the same number.
it's Council. It's already happening. Yesterday, I believe last night, we haven't had an acting deputy where we have enough members on shift that a deputy was out. and we always have to hire a deputy overtime. Well, last night was the first time that honestly I can remember in a long time that we had 25 members working. So when the deputy called out, we didn't have to pay overtime, and we had a member that fills in. So when we hire these members, which I'm very grateful to do, it takes a lot of time. The other members that came on, they were training at Fire Alarm for 5 weeks. They just got allowed to be the second operator. So we have now 8 members that we're being able to use, and it makes a whole difference. The thought of not hiring firefighters would significantly, jump up the overtime. I think the administration is cognizant of it. We are looking for more funding in overtime. We are working with the CAFO to find some solutions. But again, it's our minimum is 24. So I don't know if you want to hear me to say this, but again, it's not enough. We don't have enough members even with the 24. If you compare us to other municipalities, Fall River, they have the same amount of people of us. They run 10 pieces of apparatus. They have 6 pumps, 3 ladders, 1 rescue, and their budget is $20 million. When the governor came out and gave out the grants for 10 communities, Lawrence was one, you take those other 9 and you add up their population, the average is 88,000 people. When you add up their budgets, Lawrence Fire Department is 55% underfunded, $8.5 million compared to the Hollyoaks, the Springfields. What the governor said is similar to Lawrence. Haverhill was in there. So I'm looking for solutions. I realize the place that we're in. We are also looking to try to get some more revenue sources. The problem that comes up with us getting more revenue sources is it takes people to go out and do the inspections to collect the money. So right now, fire prevention is down 2 members because we don't backfill fire prevention. So I had to take 2 members and put them out on the trucks to be able to kind of slow down the overtime. But councilors, I think you're going to start to see the change when we could get some people off injured line of duty, and we start getting these members that we're hiring to get work out of them, to be able to count to that 24 number. But I agree with you.
I'm glad to hear you say this, because last budget hearing, there was a particular line item under personnel
Yep.
that I was strongly against.
Yes.
And it was because we needed more foots on the ground.
Yep.
At the time, you were in front of us defending it. And we ended up agreeing to disagree, but I'm hearing a different tone from you. And I don't know what's going to happen this year when we have the official hearing. I'll hear it then. I don't need an answer right now or anything about it right now, but I'm a strong believer that we should showcase our growing workforce. We don't need more administration if we don't have the people, a full team of people I'm losing my train of thought, but to oversee is what I'm trying to say. And I'm hoping that we can get to that point. And perhaps when we do get to that point, or at least 50% or over 50% to that point, then I would understand the argument of adding more to the leadership of the department. But thank you for being honest and saying we're severely under budgeted, we need this, and I appreciate hearing that from you.
Could I address that? What?
You-
Yep.
Yeah, leave it there.
Okay.
Just compliment
But
it. Leave it
okay.
there.
Yep.
All right, councilors, any other questions regarding overtime? No questions, all right. So when I asked about the deficit for the end of the year, you started going on to service?
Yeah, so I believe we're projected right now that it fluctuates. You know, if we have a 3-alarm fire tonight, this weekend, we call in members, and the numbers, we have a couple fires, that number possibly could go up. Right now, we're expected, I believe, south of 800,000, and part of it is the severance package, and I believe the CAFO has a plan for the severance package, but what's not in that is a couple things. I believe it's academic incentive and longevity. So we have members, a lot of members that are over the years, and what they have on their side is they could stay, some of them 5, 6, 7 more years, or they could retire tomorrow. So I know from the retirement board that we have 2 members. One of them is turning 65. He has acquired a lot of time out of this year budget. Since he's retiring this year, we have a contractual obligation to pay him his longevity and as a part of his academic compensation. We have another member who is close, and he just put in his papers. Again, he could go a couple more years. He's decided to retire. He deserved it, and he's the same. We have another member that is on the fence, and we believe it's up to him, but he's going to retire. When they retire, I think that's also not in the budget, their longevity payments and their academic compensations. So
And is that, I'm sorry to interrupt you, is
Sure.
that what we see here under fire suppression operations longevity that is over budgeted by $20,232.38? Is that the part?
Yes, no, that's not even factored in yet. I believe that's already factored. Let me see, what line do you have here?
It's under fire, fire suppression operations, 5142.
Oh, yes. I have so many papers up here. Let me grab that. I have that. I got it right in here.
And then also it's, again, under fire alarm,
Yeah.
and that's a little over $2,000 that was over.
Say that second part again, Counsel?
It's just the same scenario under fire alarm, just the amount is way less, so. But you were just explaining certain things needed to be factored in, and I'm asking, is
I
that
believe
why we're
that
seeing the negative?
20,000 was someplace else, and that washes out, I believe. But that's not counted because we haven't factored in that to them yet.
Okay. All right, are there any other situations or explanations that you want to go over before I open up to the council members, to the committee members for specific questioning that you as a chief see that we could potentially see as a red flag, other than overtime?
No.
No? Okay.
We're pretty much, all our other areas are pretty much, we're right on target in most of our other areas.
Yeah, this is pretty good. Counselors, questions pertaining to the fire budget? Counselor Marmo.
Chief, considering
Yes.
that, you're advocating for additional personnel, which would alleviate the overtime, how many new hires did we just get? 6.
12.
12. And those 12, is that going to be a significant relief to the current challenges with budget? Or do you see yourself for the next fiscal year also having issues and needing additional personnel?
We're probably going to need additional personnel. My first year, I could see myself, if with the wish of the city and the council, hiring approximately 20. So we hired 12, but as I said, we had 6 of them go to the academy, and we have,
Sorry,
That's
was
okay.
background, continue.
We have 6 that just came on the job. They're working this week. They're very excited. But we have 3 that are retiring in April. So through attrition, I mean, we possibly next year and right when we come into July, again, we're looking at a couple more retirees. So within the next year, we could have 6 more people retire. And it's a little bit frustrating for the Mass Fire Academy that you got to hire somebody and we got to pay them as a municipality, and we're really not getting the benefit of that employee till down the road.
Yeah. No, I could see, it's like taking 5 steps forward and then 2 steps back.
Yeah,
and seeing-
we're doing the best, and again, I'm trying to train them up at fire alarm. We're hiring a couple civilian fire alarm operators. When I hire a civilian fire alarm operator, that allows me, once they're trained, 5 weeks, it allows me to use one of the Massachusetts trained firefighters out on one of the apparatus. So I do have some plans. I'm trying to reduce the number, but what's good about this for me, it's almost it's what it costs to run the railroad. We're not doing anything really extra. One of the things I'm in a little bit predicament right now, I think I said it last budget, there's not 1 cent in the Lawrence Fire Department budget for public education. So right now, the weather is going to be getting warm. I'm going to be getting calls from the schools, from churches, from everybody wants a fire education class. And sometimes when it's during the day, again, we're with staff with the fire prevention, I have it down to 4 members because we don't backfill that. They're down low. And they're very, very busy during the day. So I don't like to do it, but I'm possibly gonna have to tell people, no, that we don't have money, that we can't come to your function, we can't come to your educational seminar, we can't come to career day, and that's gonna be frustrating to me. I get paid salary, so maybe I have to go do it.
Well, that's
It's-
why, I mean, sometimes the big boss needs to step in.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm happy. I go to just about everything. When I do send somebody, I try to join in, and honestly, that's the best part of my job is being out in the community, and I try to go to everything. And I always, when I send somebody, I try to stop by because it's the enjoyable part of the job.
So if budget is not an issue or wouldn't be an issue, there's no challenges in getting recruits?
There's no challenges in getting recruits
Okay.
in the city of Lawrence. Other communities, when I had my fire chief class, there was 42 other chiefs, and it's a lot different in other communities. A lot of them have to be EMTs and paramedics. They're jumping from place to place. And in Lawrence, some civil service communities, in Lawrence, Methuen, New Haverhill, we have plenty of people taking the test. We're expecting the new list to come out April 1st. I've probably already got about 10, 15 calls from people who have, their nephews, niece, kids have scored well, and, it's a great job, and I'm looking to hire more. But again, it takes time. We'll get there, but it takes some time.
I'm all set, Madam Chair.
All right, any other further questions? Counselor LaPlante?
So, like we did for the police department, I'd like to focus on the bigger issues and then see how that impacts this past year's budget.
Yes.
So the first thing is electrical. When I go through my district and maybe other areas of the city as well, I noticed that there are traffic signals that are inoperable or taken down, and there's other stop signals sometimes that aren't functioning properly. Where in the budget do you have jurisdiction over those electrical / light fixtures throughout our city?
We do have it, it's in the fire alarm budget. We also, if I could explain a little bit about the traffic light, a little history, this is a part of the job that I was always aware of. I didn't know how much time devoted to everything it is. We rely, in that budget, we do not have enough budget to keep up with the maintenance, the repair, the replacements of the traffic lights. We rely sometimes on community block grants. We just got $200,000 to replace 9 intersections. I could get you the list where that is. But basically, we have 97 intersections, and we have 5 different sets of lights. Some of the lights is from the 80s, 90s, 2000, some of them are brand new. When the state comes in and they do, like Broadway, they do a road or something like that, they have a plan to replace the lights. Sometimes they disturb something when they're doing the sidewalk, and then the light gets thrown off. Anytime that there's a light that we have a report of malfunctioning lights, we send somebody right away. And all you the councilors really know, because anytime I get a call, one of the things I implemented that we weren't doing is I wanted them to get an incident report of it. So I have the incident reports right on my phone. So if any councilors have ever called me and said, hey, about this light, I look through my incidents right there and I say, oh no, we have that. I think Councilor Fonte, you might have called me, and I think it was somebody else called me, and it was Winthrop Ave in Durso. It wasn't you, Councilor, but I said, yeah, we have to know about that. And I looked and I didn't see it. So I called fire alarm and said, send the electrician, and then they go and they should be writing a narrative. So usually when you call me, I should be able to, if we know about it, bring up that incident report and tell you, like, yes, this is what they're doing. A lot of the times the controller, it gets hit $5,000. I think Councilor Infante, you remember you called me about South Broadway and Andover Street, and we said, we just fixed it. And you said, it isn't working. And we found out.
It was right before the storm.
We
Like, it
found
started
out that there
snowing.
was another separate accident.
Yeah.
A lot of these controllers are right on, close to the street, and they're getting hit, and every time it's $5,000, it's $5,000, it's $5,000.
Chief,
So-
can you repeat where, sorry to interrupt you, but where, you said majority of the funding to fix these traffic lights are coming from where?
Out of
Correct.
fire alarm?
Yeah, you said that within the operating budget, the fire department itself doesn't have enough money to fix these traffic lights, but that majority comes from which grant?
We've been doing a good job of fixing the lights, but a lot of the lights, our electricians are very good, like piecing it back together. The way they say it, they have to do it with some types of like bubble gum, because some of the types we don't have replacement repairs. So again, there's 5 separate sets of 5 different kinds of lights. The oldest type, I have a plan going right now. We're prioritizing a master plan of what we have to do, what we need to get the city safe, which it is, to be replacing some of these lights. One of the things that is sometimes confusing to people, when they go out there at night, sometimes they cannot fix the light, so they put it to a blinking red and a blinking yellow. And it might not be the best thing, but that's the best they could do at the time. And it's important to know that that's a legal signal. So we don't want anybody to say, well, the light was broke or the light wasn't working correctly, because that opens up to litigation. So if there was an accident, somebody says, well, the lights weren't working. The lights, that's a legal signal, yellow and red, and they try to get out there and they try to fix it. Canal Street, right before 3050 Canal, that light was blinking forever. And we got a lot of calls on it, and that's the best they could do. Since it became an important area, and I had to make the decision, like, okay, let's fix that. And again, that's $5,000. But I don't know if it's a community, it comes from, I don't know if it's a community block grant, but out of our community development, they've been very good being able to get us some money, but we're trying to, look ahead about what we need to do to replace some of these lights. Again, the state, when they come in and touch something, I think it was last week, I called in my electrician and he said, I can't fix it. This is the state. And it was a Saturday, a Sunday, and we reached out to the Department of Transportation and said, like, we want you guys to send somebody here. This is a dangerous situation in our community, and we put something in place that now we have a number, because if they're working on it and it goes out and we can't fix it, we expect them to come in and help out our community.
Councilor
Thank,
Pat?
thank you, Chief. I want you to stick around, but I got a question for the CAFO. Ms. Corvallis. So, should we expect a capital budget this year?
There is Pago Capital. We are in the process of meeting with the mayor and the administration to see what departments are going to get what.
Did the fire department ask for any, would fixing and installing traffic signals, would that qualify as a capital improvement?
That would be more like a repair and maintenance charge, more than a capital improvement, but there might be other areas that we can try to see if we can allocate money towards that.
Yep.
I believe there was some money, Chief, if I'm not mistaken, from the ARPA money. That's what the money that was allocated to the fire department
$200,000 for the 9 intersections.
was used for that.
So my sense is this, there are, not only does these need to be fixed, but also there are traffic signals throughout the city where there used to be a traffic signal. It is hit, gone, it's no longer there. So you've got like this thing in the ground that you know that used to be one. We need a brand that needs to be replaced. It's very unsafe. The corner that I'm thinking of right now is Andover, no, Salem and South Union Street, which is a place where it's really dicey, that intersection. But that's just one of many. So
The money that we have, Counselor,
Yeah.
just to
Sure.
go over that, the Pago Capital, we have a little more flexibility than if we were to borrow money. So we can use that money on the Pago Capital section if we, if the mayor and the administration decides to.
Sure. So I will,
appropriate it for that.
thank you very much. I'm all set. So the Chief, I would hope that you would, as you just heard what the CAFO said, I would hope that you would consider maybe taking advantage of the opportunity. Now, whether the mayor selects it or not is a different story.
Yes.
Whether the council approves it or not is a different story. But having it on the list, and sometimes that, even if you don't make it the cut, that capital improvement budget is a heck of a good document that provides what city departments realize are needs. We may not be able to fund them all, but from a planning policy perspective that I'm looking from, that tells me a lot about where departments think the money should be going to fix some of the problems that they have. So just as a
Good advice,
I
thank
look
you.
at that. Thank you.
I guess Salem and Newton Street, because you wouldn't believe how many times that light has been knocked down.
Yeah, I'm not
The
even going to
north-
talk to you about Five Corners
the
yet, 'cause
west,
that's a whole
yeah,
different story.
it's-
Where's my five? There
yeah.
we go. Yeah. So, all right, let's move on. Unlawful apartments. I know that you guys in the fire department has a relationship with ISD in understanding and knowing, because you go into these things. Where in the budget does the money come to pay for those kinds of inspections? Are they or what? I'm not sure how to describe it.
It could be financial implications in the city. It's not really budgeted. It's in calls and it's in services. To get to the illegal apartments is the unknown, how many we have. But before to get to the unknown, I have to say the known, that in the last 10 years, the city of Lawrence has went up 20%, and we've added 10,000 dwelling units. So that's the known, and again, sorry to go back to it, but the Lawrence Fire Department hasn't had an extra person on the staff for that. The known of 20% increase with 10,000 units. It's been 24 or under since I got on. So now we move to, your point, Counselor, is the illegal apartments possibly, or whatever. There is a lot. More people, that adds to more people. More people adds to more medicals, means to more incidents. More cars on the road adds to more accidents, more calls for service. And what I think I've said it before, for whatever reason, we find ourselves spending more time at calls. And that could be possibly, when our members go there, they don't walk away from any, illegal units or whatever. We try to get a procedure we call a building inspector, we call inspectional services. Sometimes if engine 9 goes to something where they find dangerous, they could be tied up for an hour to 2 hours dealing with that. We try to, so let's call in a member of fire prevention. That costs overtime. If it's during the day, that they're there. We call in building, we call in sometimes a health inspector. And again, I'm a believer if they're in our city, they're members of our community, and we try to treat them with decency, and we have a duty to protect them. So sometimes if we go into some of these illegal, well, you know, the building makes the determination if it's legal. If it's illegal, if it's unsafe, if our members come across something, that they have a duty to make it safe right there. If you go to a medical call and that back door is blocked, they have a duty to, they getting paid for lieutenant, captain, acting officer. They have a duty to make a decision and see what we need to do. Do we have to does it rise to the level of getting building department in here? Or could you have somebody around to open up that door? We will call for the owner. We will make them, if there's no smoke detectors, we'll have them try to put up some smoke detectors, and we try to get the owners. Sometimes the owners aren't around, and it's not unusual to have a piece of apparatus 2.5 hours at a call dealing with something till our members don't feel safe leaving there. Some of our problem is, you know, you don't want to be the last one to leave an occupancy, and then something happens, and then you write a report, and now you're going to write that it's, I found this dangerous situation. Well, if you document that and there's a fire within the next 2 weeks, they're going to look at that and they're going to say, oh, you know, you were there 2 weeks ago, what did you do? So they're very, very difficult to handle. The policy and the procedure, everyone's different. But to really get back to your question, it adds 2 calls. It adds time to calls. You can't just go in and say, there's 6 people living dangerously down in the basement with cooking materials, and they're all smoking down there, and they have 1 egress. You should have saw that place. We don't do that. You're stuck there with building and...
Right, so a couple things. So one, what I'm picking up from you is that the question regarding overtime, this contributes to some of the overtime. If I understood you correctly, they're saying there, I think if that's not what you meant to say.
It's not much.
Okay.
They may call in an investigator to deal with it, because we don't want a truck. You don't want Engine 9 in your district tied up on Farnham Street for 2.5 hours dealing with somebody has a medical, somebody has a hard time breathing, there's a fire. So sometimes that's a way to free up a piece of apparatus. You call building, call building, it could be, we'll be there in an hour, we'll be there in a half hour.
And do you keep track when your personnel finds unlawful apartments because they're in there doing whatever they're doing? Do they keep track of that?
We would, when I was in captain of fire prevention, we were keeping a log. I know some of the deputies was keeping a log, but my books are chapter 148, Mass Laws, chapter 148, 527 CMRs. I do not make the determination if this is an illegal apartment. We need the building department. They come and say, if it's legal or it's not legal. So if you have a 2.5-story building and somebody's living up in the attic, I can't say that it's illegal. They might say, yeah, look we have an occupancy permit for here. So when it's illegal, dangerous, then it rises to a different occasion. I mean, we have a duty to act on those. They're very difficult to handle.
So the short answer is you're not keeping, you are keeping records. You're not sure. If
We're
anybody's
keeping
keeping
our
records
own
now.
record, but again, it's not an official record. That would be the building department. They
understand.
make that determination, not me. We see it and we know the places, and we keep our own unofficial record of where they are.
If ISD is going to be doing what we're doing here, that's going to be a lot of questions I'm going to have,
Yeah.
and then one of the things I want to know, and maybe
So Counselor, ISD is actually the next department that we're going to have in front of us.
super. So the idea here is, I'm hopeful that we're not working in silos, but we're working together in tandem and unity. So when you see something, someone's keeping, because when I talk to ISD, they don't keep records of this kind of stuff.
It's.
And I'm like,
I can't
that's
speak
crazy.
for them, but it's difficult to handle. It's a transient population.
I
I could have somebody move out of a basement, and again, I'm a believer if you're in our community, you're part of our community. Sometimes, what the difference that I see is sometimes families are overgrown, okay? So you have maybe your grandmother living with you, your aunt living with you, you have your kids that are in college, and they can't afford their own apartment, so we have a lot of people living in a building. Like, we get that. I understand that. It still has to be safe. Sure. What I don't like to see is when we have people that own business, own houses that are from Methuen, Andover, North Andover, and they're making a profit putting our citizens in danger. That's when it comes to a different level. So if you own a property, and we always ask, where's the owner? Well, the owner may be coming from Andover, they may be coming from Methuen, and they're victimizing the people of our community by their charging them rent. So when we go in, again, we're very nice to everybody. We ask everybody, like, how you doing? How much you paying rent? So you want to get a closet in a basement, you're paying $500. You want something with no bathroom downstairs, an old cellar. I can't say basement because the difference between you can live in a basement, you can't live in a cellar. We ask how much you're paying. People are paying $700 with no bathroom in a cellar, and it's not safe. But I understand if it's an overgrown family. But when somebody is making a monetary gain out of putting our citizens in danger, that's when it comes to
Well, it comes
another
down to
level.
affordability. We have an overgrowth of market rate housing in our city, in our state, in our nation, and people cannot afford housing right now. And unfortunately, that contributes to the continuous growth of illegal housing within these properties. That's the
I
reality.
agree with you, Counsel, but again, people are making a monetary profit out of it. If they want to do good, they want to help people, like, let somebody, and a lot of times they own up to it. Some people are making a lot of money by illegally housing people. They're not doing it for the good of our citizens, they're doing it for monetary gain, and it's unacceptable.
Thank you, Chief.
Yeah, let's move, well, I got plenty, so thank you. It's just, what this comment reminds me of is, when I'm making these comments, when anybody comes before us, I'm gonna be going before the zoning or planning tomorrow for how many units? 500 units on Osgood, 200 units on Osgood Street? 400?
360, I believe.
So I'll be speaking out against that tomorrow, but again, we're just impacting stuff. Move on. Whatever, you talked about false alarms a little bit.
Sure.
Do you keep track of how many false alarms we have in the city?
Oh, if we had to keep track of every false alarms, yeah, Ron, but there is an ordinance in the city that if
Chief.
you,
Try to keep the answer
Short.
short.
you got
Right to
it,
the point.
Yeah.
you got it.
False alarms, how many do we have?
Because I already see Mark, the counselor, continue, sorry.
So do we keep track of false alarms? I could run a report and get you false alarms.
Sure. Have we, I'm looking at the revenues, have we penalized anybody?
No, we haven't enforced that.
So is it enforceable? Because I've got the false alarm ordinance in front of me. Has there been any?
We haven't enforced that, Counselor, probably in 10 years. It is, if you have 3
right.
false alarms within 1 quarter,
That's right.
I believe you could be forced $100. That's.
No, there's
safe
no
to go-
penalty for the first 3 per quarter.
First 3, but after that,
The 4th one, you get 50. The 5th one, you get 150, and the
yeah.
6th is 200, and the 7th,
Yep.
and any other one is $300.
you also need, we would do that. I'm not against it. We were going to start it. You also need personnel to give out those tickets and to collect those tickets.
Sure. But also the other thing too is that I'm gonna go out on a limb here. I'm going to guess that if we're getting a lot, and I suspect I've talked to many chiefs in the past regarding this, and so you're not the first chief that I've asked. I know there's a lot of false alarms. I know there's a lot of repetitious false alarms where we're taking folks going out repeatedly because they're not fixing their system and we're not finding them and they're not getting the message. My point here, to my colleague's point earlier regarding overtime, if we're constantly sending personnel and we're not enforcing this, when this was done back in 2001, this ordinance and false alarms, it was done because it was a problem. And we gave the fire department a tool. And the tool is, if you enforce this, we'll get less false alarms and you're out where our firefighters are fresh. They're not going ahead and dealing with false alarms. They're quicker to a real emergency as opposed to being tied up on a potential false alarm. It makes a lot of sense. So it concerns me. I understand the financial stuff on this, where you can get the people, but if you do this, it has a ripple effect on positives to the department and to the taxpayers. So I throw that out there. I guess I'm asking, since we raised no money on false alarms this year, last year, and we're not doing anything, apparently because of the reasons you just mentioned, but I think, Chief, we have to fix that. Because this is an issue.
I agree not to go on, but we have to fix a lot of things, and we don't have the personnel to enforce a lot of things. I have a lot of great ideas. I do it to you just got your brand new apartment, right? But you love to have your first new apartment, but you can't change the rugs, you can't change the color of the walls, the old broken things. We've been level funded for the last 4 or 5 years, and personnel like services, from where we get our toilet paper to where we get our paper towels, have gone up 25%. So how do the members, when they're calling me on Saturday at the firehouse, said we ran out of toilet paper? I mean, it's real. This is the things. We haven't been increased. We've been level funded, but all our goods and services has went up. We can't keep doing it.
My two really quick points, I don't need a lot, is hydrants and flow. And I realize that's a water department issue, but you're
Yep, water
intimately
department
involved in
issue.
that. But that's an issue throughout.
Yep, that would be for
I'm
the water
going to
department.
actually hold that conversation
Yeah.
because we are going to be seeing something from the water department in the near future. And you'll probably be invited to join that conversation.
Yes, and
So we'll wait
and
until
they've been
that.
doing an excellent job, and
Yeah.
they've been making improvements, and I'm happy to be here.
Good. Last question. I haven't heard much about arsons in the city.
Yes.
Have there been any in this last year?
No, I think the last captain of fire prevention did an excellent job with, making sure that wouldn't happen. And he put some great procedures in place to be able to minimize that. And we work very well with the state police. And there's a lot of other things that are down in the city. It's because of its cameras. You go light a car on fire tonight, I call in the state. We work with the Lawrence Police, helps us a lot. We'll follow you all around the city and say, you went into 37 Brook Street. We'll go knock on your door and say, hey, is this a picture of you? We've had some. We're working on a couple. We have 2-3 car fire investigations open.
So you do have some arson that's
Yeah,
ongoing.
100%.
And how this year, 2 or 3 you said during the course
No,
of the year?
we've had, I don't believe we've had any dwelling fires. We've had car fires that we got people on camera, pouring gasoline in a car, lighting it up, and sometimes these things take a month, 2 months,
Understood.
but we're working them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Are there any further questions for our fire chief? Seeing none, Chief, you survived your
Thank you.
year to date.
I apologize to go on sometimes, but I have a
No,
lot to say, that anytime that you want to invite me, I honestly enjoy coming up and speaking to you, so I appreciate you guys. You guys do a lot of
I-
work and committed to the
Thank
city,
you.
so.
I want to say, Chief, before you leave.
Yes.
I appreciate your budget overall. Year to date looks good.
Thank you.
And given the fact that you came on as a chief, basically mid-budget year, so to say, it's being managed pretty well. There's minor things, but the biggest, we're working through it, and hopefully some of the concerns that you shared with us tonight, we can figure something out, even if it's a small percentage of alleviation.
I appreciate the help, and we have our annual budget. I'm not sure if everybody got that. I presented it in front of public safety, which I love to do too, so, but I have copies of that. I don't know if everybody got it, but if you didn't, we have hard copies. Yeah, and I could send it to you, and it's a great
I would love a
read.
copy.
You guys will love it.
Yeah,
You could
would
take,
love a copy.
You want the English or Spanish?
Oh, there you have them both in one bite. Oh, you gave me both.
Thank you. This is awesome. Thank you so much, Chief.
Thank you.
You see,
I appreciate all you
I
guys very
told you
much.
it wasn't scary as it looks. I know
No,
department heads
you
when they
guys
see it.
bring me up here anytime. I love coming up and talking to you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
right, counselors, the next item we have is item 80-26, authorization to expend $70,000 grant funds from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Federal Funds and Infrastructure Office, municipal, and this is the Municipal and Tribal Technical Assistance Grant, and we have our grant manager, now title, grant manager, Ileana Reyes here, to tell us about this.
Good evening, counselors. It's Ilialis Reyes, and I'm Director of Project Management and Development and at 360 Merrimack. Good evening. So really grateful and excited for this grant. It's through the state, even though the office is called Federal Funds and Infrastructure, but it is an actual state grant where we will be using these $70,000 to complement our current Safe Streets and Roads for All comprehensive safety plan. Currently, we're experiencing a major portfolio of projects at Office of Planning and Development, and so it's been challenging to meet the deadlines. Well, not meet the deadlines, if not move along this grant as quickly as we want it. And so we're now grateful that we have these funds where we're gonna get a consultant to help us speed the process for our Safe Streets and Roads for All grant. So it's a complimentary, the state was offering, it looks like the state knows that there's a lot of municipalities that have limited capacity for a lot of grants. And so the submission was for actual consultants, post-grant work, and even community engagement. So we'll be using these $70,000 split between 2 fiscal years for a consultant to help with that Safe Streets grant.
So this right here, what we have, this $70,000 is to pay a consultant
Yes,
to do a job that we have an entire department to do.
yes.
Okay. So here's my, okay, so people think I'm the bad counselor because every time we have the personnel committee or something come up about personnel, I emphasize a lot qualifications and experience. We are spending thousands and thousands of dollars on consultants when we should have and I know you do a great job. I know the amount of
Thank you.
money that you have brought in, and I appreciate the work that you do every day.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But we're hiring these people in these high-level positions for what? To continue to waste money on consultants? So what are we paying these directors, assistant directors, and et cetera? What are we paying them to do? Because every single time, not every single time, but frequently, it's something about a consultant this, a consultant that. That is very frustrating. And as a counselor that I bring this up, I get blasted. People speak very negative of me because I'm consistently bringing up the obvious. And I'm sure the state could have allocated this to another community that could appropriately use these funds. And I just don't know when the city's gonna get with the program. And I'm sorry I'm giving you this speech because you have nothing to do with that, but thank you for bringing this grant. But that's my little spiel on that. You don't have to comment to that.
Through you, Counselor, if I can just, I guess, advocate for what which I understand, your concerns and the constituents' concerns. At the moment, Office of Planning and Development is managing 51 grants, right? But we're saying 51 grants, but that does not highlight the magnitude of these grants. So for example, in one line, if you had an Excel sheet, and I can show you the Excel sheet, one line says CDBG, right? And it just has one line, and the reader will think, oh, it's just one grant, right? CDBG, 1.3 million, right? Within that grant, you have 22 sub-recipients that you have to provide fiscal management, send information to the federal agency.
There are multiple requirements within one grant. However, we're a small city. There are bigger cities that employ their departments adequately, and they don't spend as much in consultants. They just don't.
Through you. So it is humanly impossible to manage a portfolio of approximately 88 million or 80 plus million dollars with the current staff that we have right now. So when you hear the word consultant, it could be for one grant that has, I don't know, 5 years of work to do and probably like 100 tasks. Then you need a consultant for another grant that has 20 different stakeholders. And so I invite you or the community to come and at least, so weekly we meet on our planning projects. It is an intense meeting where we go over all of the nuts and crans of these grants, and that's just one section of the department. So we can justify every single consultant, and in terms of every single consultant, I'm not aware of which, the list of them, but I can say for the ones at least that the grants that I work with, or at least for this particular grant, it's a lot of moving pieces. We just got our Vision Zero task force finalized, and now we have to have these meetings once a month. It's a lot of work. And if you ask me, we probably need a consultant for every single grant.
So part of that, I hear that explanation, but I also heard within your explanation, short-staffed. So that brings up another point that in my 5 years being city councilor, I have consistently brought up. The fact that we keep raising these six-figure salaries when a percentage of those funds could be allocated to increase personnel within these departments to help leadership move things along. I know some grants have a lot of moving pieces, and I'm sure there's maybe a majority that is justifiable to have a consultant, but there's also other pieces to this that if we manage ourselves better as an employer, I'm sure we can alleviate a lot of what you're saying right now, what you're saying or what we're seeing across the board in general.
Thank you.
Great job defending, though.
Well, through you, these are facts, and I can show you the complexities and when it comes to federal funds, they are a lot more, they're very strict.
Yes.
And so if you promised that you were going to sneeze 3 times that, in that year, you better sneeze.
And they want to see receipts and,
Exactly.
and timestamps. They're very specific of the requirements. I understand that. And like I said, majority, I get it, I follow you, but there's a percentage that could be fixed if we look at other things. Council Marmol.
Correct me if I'm wrong, did we have this same grant, Safe Streets for All, that was focusing in the Tower Hill area last year? Is this grant overseeing that same area in Lawrence, or is this focusing in another sector?
Great question. So this grant is the citywide grant, is the first one that we got, and that one is going to do an entire study of the city and identify the areas that have the highest fatality crashes due to vehicles. Okay. But we had also submitted separately to the same USDOT and Federal Highway for Tower Hill. And that one was recently the grant agreement was finally finalized, and that's going to be targeting just the Tower Hill. And we're not double dipping in the sense of that, we're going to also study that area. The consultants already know that Tower Hill is going to be used, or that second grant is going to be used for Tower Hill, but this one is for the entire region or the entire city.
And that one hasn't been finalized yet, right?
The grant agreement was finalized, which means that now we can start the work.
The scope of the work.
The scope.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we're not
speaking of the same, like the same grant, focusing in the same area. I'm all set.
Thank you.
Councilors, any other questions? Councilor LaPlante?
Just make a comment. So not all grants are treated equally. Not all consultants are equal. In your department, from my experience, is that you said how many projects you're juggling. And if we're able to bring in a consultant to assist in a significant one, that frees staff up to do some of the other work that's going to be required that we can't get a consultant to help. I'd rather sometimes have a consultant and that's paid for something rather than increase another personnel, and bring another body in necessarily, because what we're doing then is that we're adding not only employment costs, but the benefits, retirement, et cetera, and sometimes it's even more efficient, it's not all equal, but sometimes it's more efficient to have a consultant doing something. So the fact that you're able to get this, to be able to shepherd this, get the information that's required on an important grant, and then free you and others on the staff to work on other things, I think is a positive. So I'll be supporting this tonight.
I'm hoping to see that.
Pardon me?
No, I'm saying, I'm hoping that that's what we see,
Yeah.
what you're explaining.
Sure. So I think it's important that we get this thing up there. I don't disagree with much of what the chair made some very good points. I agree with many of them. But in this particular case, on this particular item, I think we need to send this up favorably. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Any other questions or comments? Seeing, do you have any closing remarks?
Well, I just want to point something out in terms of consultants and for the grants. So for this particular consultant, they have to be knowledgeable in infrastructure and transportation. So we can't get another consultant that's working, let's say, on community block grants to come and help us with this safe streets. So there's a lot of moving pieces and there are a lot of different knowledge that's needed per grant and per deliverables. So I just wanted to point that out.
Ms. Wright, when did you start with the city again?
February 2023.
Do you know off the top of your head how much money you brought in grants?
I think it's over 10 million.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
I don't see you quite often, so when I do, I want to take the time to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Councilors,
Chair,
Council.
If I can make a motion
Yep,
to move
go
this
right
item up to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Motion has been made to move up as a favorable recommendation by the Vice Chair, seconded by the Council President. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
We'll see you April 7th. April 7th is our next meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good evening.
All right, next we have item 81-26, acceptance of devices under the Massachusetts Broadband Institute Connected and Online Program, brought to us by the Director of IT, Director Castillo. Director, you have the floor. Please state your name and city address for the record. I keep forgetting about that.
Good evening, councilors. Carlos Castillo, 200 Common Street. This is a grant that I wrote, right, for the entire city. The Broadband Institute was providing this grant, and when I wrote it for the entire city, but the library and the senior center were the units that kind of qualify for it. And we're here just to let you guys know, that we was awarded 140 computers, which will be dedicated to replace all the old computers at the library. They have a computer lab, so now it's going to be modern and up to date. 80 laptops, 40 regular laptops, and 40 all-in-one computers. So those are considered type of tablet. So the computers will be distributed between the library and the senior center. And I have the library director here with me. And also Lily that kind of helped us as well with the whole process. If you want to say something.
Director?
Thank you. Thank you, Director. Through you guys, I think it's just an amazing, I know that Councilor LaPlante mentioned the opportunity of not working in silos, and I think this is a perfect example of department heads working together for the greater good of the city of Lawrence. I had the opportunity of submitting my strategic plan, our strategic plan on behalf of the Lawrence Public Library to our Director of the Clerk Department, Eileen Bernabel, and I hope you guys received it. If not, I have additional copies here, and it is available on our website. This outlines our plan for the city in conjunction with what we have heard from focus groups and our constituents. In alignment with that, we have realized a real big gap with digital equity, and knowing that we have the opportunity to have not only the IT director within our walls in the Lawrence Public Library, we have the opportunity of having someone as talented as Eulalie as the grant coordinator. And we have explored not only grants, because grants are available, and like we talk about the capacity of having people who are serving as consultants, it's important that we understand the magnitude and the expertise of every department and what that spreads through, and specifically when it also comes to managing a team. I think a lot of that has to do with where we can analyze what we are best and what our best strengths are. And these devices, this grant that was specifically chosen by our IT director and ourselves was to align the capability of our next 5-year plan, which is making sure that we build the digital equity gap, and that's within our strategic plan. So we're excited. Those equipments are going to be so used, and I want to make sure that we understand that he applied on behalf of the full city, but there is a contingency between the MBI that it has to be for public spaces, right? So what better space in the library in the center to be able to help build that gap a little closer?
Thank you, Director. You've also been, you were hired also in 2023, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you've definitely have been moving our library forward, and I know we all see that and appreciate that, so.
Thank you, Councilman
Thank
Infante.
Councilors, any questions pertaining to this? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Oh, do you have a question? Do you have a question? No?
Motion to send item 8226 to the full council with a favorable recommendation.
Motion has been made by the Vice Chair. Is there a
Oh,
second?
wait, I said 82, I meant 8126.
8126.
It's getting late, it's getting late.
By the Vice Chair, is there a second? Seconded by Councilor LaPlante. Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. We will see you
Thank you so
April
much.
7th.
Appreciate it. Through you, I will be on PTO that time, and I will be sending someone from my staff member for our representation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so
Director.
much.
Next item, we have item 82-26, rescission of bond authorization, which are 9 bonds totaling $9,821,827.98, and we have our treasurer and tax collector Perla Ortiz with us tonight for the item. Ms. Ortiz, you have the floor.
Good evening, councilors. Perla Ortiz, City Treasurer, Collector, 200 Common Street. I come before you with the request to authorize to rescind a total of 9 projects totaling $9,827.98 to be exact. This total consists of unissued portions of the amounts authorized to be borrowed under the loan orders of the City Council adopted on the dates authorizing the issuance of bonds and the amount and purpose listed before you. Did you all receive the documents with the list? Okay, perfect. The identified total is no longer needed for the projects for which they were authorized and therefore should be rescinded. So these projects are all completed, so no further borrowing should be issued.
Thank you. Councilors, any questions or comments? Councilor LaPlante?
I'm sure we've done this before in the past. I just don't remember doing it.
Yeah.
Have we rescinded bonds like this in the past?
In my tenure here, I have not done it.
Right.
I can't speak of when was the last time it
So,
was issued.
yeah.
As of right now, our statement of indebtedness, it has grown tremendously. So
Our statement, say it again, our statement of what?
of indebtedness. So
Indebtedness.
yeah. So basically, when either the department head or in the past, Mark Iannello would come before you to request authorization, it would create a list of projects that we were allowed to borrow on behalf of. So I'm trying to basically decrease that allowed amount. So identifying projects that are completed, so we can rescind is kind of why I'm here tonight. This is a great thing to do, as you could imagine, because not only does it help us from a fiscal stability, but also when we go in front of S&P, so our rating agency, they see that, our amount to borrow has decreased, so what's allowed to borrow has decreased. Granted, this doesn't take into consideration any future projects that you may authorize.
No, I take it in the spirit that was sent to us, which is a good news, is that, we thought we were going to need to borrow a certain dollar amount on all of these, and what we paid for or we had to borrow came a lot less. One of these does raise my eyebrows, though, and that's the boiler and roof replacement at the Community Arlington School. In this one, the amount that was requested for bond was $3,800,000.
Yeah. So
We only borrowed $700,000 and $3.1 million weren't used. That seems like an outlier to me. So I need a bit of an explanation.
yeah, I can definitely dive into some of the details pertaining to this, but my understanding is these are projects that are also qualifiable for through the Mass school. I'm sorry.
MSBA?
The MSBA. So therefore, they do fund a portion of the projects. I can put together some of the highlights as to what percentage they were able to reimburse us for.
The point here is, I don't need to have the actual dollar amount. That's not that important to me. It's the principle of what we're talking about that's important to me. So the principle here is that we were able to get MSBA monies,
Yeah.
a decent amount of money. You can probably throw me a number, but we didn't need to borrow as much because we got a funding source elsewhere, which reduced that, and that's good news. We can not have to put the bond and the interest payment, et cetera, on the taxpayers' back and put it in our budget every. So I think it's good news.
Yeah.
That, I think, if you can just give me a ballpark of a number, I'd be happy with that on that one. How much did we get from MSBA on that one?
I have that. I can give that
Okay.
to you. So this is an R project, the ones we currently have. There are
Yeah.
3 R projects, one of them being the South Lawrence East.
Yeah.
We're replacing the roof there, and the Arlington, we're
Yeah,
doing the
yeah,
windows.
yeah,
So
yeah.
this is the same thing. It was for the roof and elevator at the North Common Education, which is the old high school. And again, it was an R project. The MSBA portion, the budget was 3.6 million, but the actual was 2.5. So
we
the MSBA, when they do these projects, they come up with this estimate that doesn't always come, at the same estimate amount. So the project was estimated for 3.6 million from the MSBA, and we got 2.5. Bond proceeds, what we do is we authorize more than we think we need, just to make sure we don't have an issue with cash flow. And then for this particular project, we got reimbursed closer to 80%, which is in line with what most MSBA projects, especially our projects, come in at.
So this sheet here says Community Arlington, and you mentioned the old high school. So is there an intersection as to why the old high school and the community charter school are on this item?
So this particular case, there were 2 projects going at the same time,
Okay.
so they grouped them together.
Okay. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other further questions or comments? One comment. Perla, thank you as well for your work. I think nobody likes taxes, so I think you have the most difficult department. So thank you for holding down that for many years for the city.
Thank you all. Have a great evening.
Wait, we haven't voted yet. Now
Sorry.
I will entertain a motion for item 82-2 26.
Motion to send to full council with a favorable recommendation.
Motion has been made by the vice chair, seconded by the council president. Any further discussion on the matter? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. And the ayes have it. We will
Thank
see
you.
you April 7th. You're welcome. All right, this is the last new business item. Item 83-26, authorization to transfer $97,552 from free cash to account, do you have the actual account name, Kafel? Because I just have the number.
Yes, so 5380 is other purchase services, and what we do is,
Okay, hold on. So purchase services in the amount of, so from that $97,552, $15,552 will go to purchasing services, and then the remaining amount, $82,000, is being requested to be transferred to what account, Kafel?
That's the veterans reimbursement account.
The Veterans Reimbursement Account, and on the agenda, we have it as the account numbers, so for the public
Yes.
to understand where exactly it's going, stating the accounts. And we have tonight our Director of Veteran Services, Director Victor Ortega. Director, you have the floor.
Good evening, councilors. Victor Ortega, Director of Veteran Services, 200 Common Street. The 15,552 to other purchases, that is to cover the flags for Memorial Day. Per the state guidelines, we can only purchase flags one time a year. Going back to how it was done in the past, it was the flags were purchases like in batches, different invoices. And I just found out per the state, they only reimburse one time only. So the reason why I added the invoice in the package, the reason we did one mass purchase at one time, is just to get full reimbursement back from the state, which is 75% of that purchase is returning back to the state. So,
Thank you, Director. Any questions for Director Ortega pertaining to these transfers? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to send item 8326 to full council with a favorable recommendation.
Motion has been made by the vice chair. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilor LaPlante. Discussion on the matter? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? No, the ayes have it. I just heard. Thank you, Director.
thank you, councilors. Have a good
For
night.
your
Thank
work.
you.
And all right, now, councilors, we're going to. Yes. Tabled matters, next page. Under January 20th, 2026, can I have a motion to untable item 7-26, approval of a TIF agreement between RG LLC and the City of Lawrence for property located at 470 Broadway.
Motion to untable.
Motion has been made by the vice chair, seconded by the council president. No discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye, the ayes have it. We have Director McCarthy and the representatives from RG LLC. Director McCarthy, I did see one of the things, one of the situation that we had prior was that not every member had all the documents. I did see that you sent that over. So is everyone, before we proceed, is everyone okay with that, with the documents they received? I know we had some concerns and questions last meeting. I'm going to give you the floor to introduce, to reintroduce and address the committee.
Yes, good evening, Daniel McCarthy, Planning Director with an office at 360 Merrimack Street. Briefly, the documents you have in front of you is a copy of the TIF agreement, a letter addressed with a breakdown of the benefits to the project, a 20-page set of plans, and I recently provided you a copy of the spreadsheet with all of the TIF agreements that we've entered into over the last 30 years since the program's been initiated. I think that was a major portion of the questioning, was a kind of a comparative estimation of what we've done in the past. I know some questions had come up about the differences in the different types of the projects and what TIFs were negotiated. As I mentioned at the last meeting, the planning department does not negotiate these. The developers come in with a plan of what they want to present to the city as their TIF. The projects range greatly. You can see over the years that the state allows up to a 20-year tax increment period. Unlike the tie agreement, which is related to housing, there's a fixed limit on that. The TIF agreement is for economic development and doesn't have the same value, so that's why they're negotiated separately. And again, I don't negotiate these. I'm presented with these, and I'm bringing them forward. I think you look at the value of the project and what it implies to each neighborhood, what it brings to the table, the depth of the project. Is this just part of is it a one-shot development, or is it part of a bigger project? Those types of things go. Obviously, the number of jobs created is important. I know President Rodriguez pointed that out, that in years we've dealt with some of the projects that provided hundreds of jobs. But if you look at the spreadsheet, there's other ones that I think have minimal amounts of projects numbers, even down to providing just one job, and we've approved those in the past too. So I'm not here as an advocate on behalf of the applicant. They are here to explain the project in the terms of the project and what it means to the city. I have with me Maria Alcantara, who is one of the principals. She's a manager of RG LLC. And I also have Benny Guzman, who's a family member for the principal who are developing the project. And they're both here to speak about the project itself. I'm here to answer any questions you might have, and so please do. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Name and address for the record, please.
Maria Alcantara, 38 Beaconfield Street, Lawrence, Mass. 01843.
Hello, Ms. Alcantara. I'm going to pause here. Councilors, do you have any questions before we continue?
Yes, I do, but I mean, if they want to expose.
Do you want to speak first? Just introduce yourselves. I know we had someone else.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Name and address for the record, please.
Yep, my name is Benny Guzman. I reside in 30 Elm Street in Methuen, Mass. I represent Ray Services, one of the contractors, a part of this development and the site.
Well, I want to give you, thank you for the opportunity so we can come here asking to consider the TIF for that project. And also I'm here to answer any question that you may have.
Okay, so councilors, any questions or comments? Councilor Marmo.
I have several because I didn't get to ask the last time, so my apologies. Is this the first time that your company?
Yes.
Do you have several companies, or is this one of many?
We have several.
Several.
Yes,
Okay.
and this is the first time.
This will be the
Idaho.
first TIF
Yes.
that you are guys out of
Yes.
the years of being in business, working in the city, that you're requesting this assistance?
Yes.
Okay. Specifically for this project, which physically I love it, it's beautiful. I love mixed use, allowing the opportunity to, obviously, for economic development within the city. Can this project move forward without the TIF assistance?
I will say yes, but it will be difficult for us to continue. What we already did, it was talk to the bank so they can hold on the principal, so we can continue developing the area, and also working inside to finish and outside. And the bank agreed to charge only interest on the meantime. I don't know if it's gonna be for a year or two, but that will be something that will help us to continue and bring this project, finish and be able, so we can start renting to the community.
Okay. I was reading, and it says that it would assist with a financial gap. Are you able to specify what gap currently exists in order, for
Well, every
for
time
us to
that,
justify the
every,
TIF?
every money that we use in the construction is a loan from the bank. So, every time that we request a loan, it's interest paid the next day.
And if I may, so when we say gap, well, what, this is a collaboration with the bank, obviously, so, the idea is to stabilize one project and move on to the next one, so, we want to highlight that. If we do have the support from the city here, that we can bridge the gap and keep these projects moving at a greater pace, truth be told, we've come this far off of our own strength, we have a proven track record, and, we've been doing this for a while. So us coming to the city for the first time, we're excited. And so thank you. I think your name is Vivian, right? Thank you, Vivian.
Counselor Marble.
Counselor
I'm
Marble.
like, yes.
In this
Thank-
session,
Yeah, yeah,
Counselor Marble.
But I'm like, yes.
But yeah, the name is there, so I just appreciate you guys. And that highlighting that question that we have been doing this for a while. So yeah. I'm
Okay.
with you.
Let me see. Hold on, because I have a list of questions.
So I think you guys saw what happened last meeting. Myself and Counselor LaPlante were part of another committee. We heard a lot of the pitch and asked our questions. But we were missing some members were missing some of the documentation. So it's kind of like doing this all over again, so just.
Am I
yeah.
asking any repetitive questions?
No, I think, no, this is a
I
whole
wasn't here
different
for the
committee.
last one,
So
so
this
you
is,
can
this
get a
is
whole
the
new
budget,
perspective
yeah.
if you like.
Yeah, I'm not
this
part
is-
of the Economic
This
Development
is a whole
Committee
different
anymore.
committee, so please, any questions you have,
sure.
go ahead, Councilor Marble.
Okay. What return are you projecting, and how does the TIF will change that? Or is it just offsetting in terms of what you just mentioned? It's kind of like putting out fires, in terms of like, it's based on loans. So is the TIF just to assist on the, the challenges that come with the loans?
Well, I will say yes. I don't have right now with me what is the projection on the income, but it's going, like what we're doing right now is a 30 apartment unit. It's going to be rental. It's not a low income, but it's going to be with comparable rental market in the city. So,
And I just want to be clear, Councilor Marmo, it's not about putting out fires. It's more of again, expediting this whole entire process here, right? So with the bank, we have an agreement where we're going to stabilize and move on. This is just your assistance to kind of bridge that so that we can leapfrog this and get this going at a rapid pace, if that makes sense, right?
My apologies for using the terminology "putting out fires." It makes it sound like there's
Well, you
there's
just talked
issues.
to the fire chief for like the last.
I also read, besides the 30 residential units, there's 2 commercial spaces. I love the component in terms of a training facility. I'm not sure if I saw something about a performing, did I read that wrong? Performance
yes,
arts?
that is one of the plans. I don't want to discuss too much about because until it's not like finalized.
So that's
But,
not set in stone?
well,
You could put like an auto zone there if you
speaking to
change
the-
your mind?
Yeah,
I will
speaking
say-
to the fact it's 8,000 square feet of leasable space.
Because it's touching the heartstrings. When anytime, developers want to mention youth, it touches the heartstrings of counselors because we're very pro-youth. So I just want to,
Probably
you know,
why,
if
the
there was-
application.
Yeah.
No.
So it's like,
Tactic, maybe.
don't try to butter me up with the.
No. At the moment, that's the plan. And I've been doing, like, as some of you council know me, so I've been doing training since 1998. I love to train, so I've been doing construction training and also cosmetology.
That's the foreseeable plan is to train in construction.
Not necessary, but we want to expand in other area like IT, perform. So we have a lot of idea, but I won't say yes until it's done. But that's the plan.
Okay, all right.
She still has the floor.
No, I'm all set for now.
Council President.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A couple of things that I have, wanted to ask. So far, based on the years that I have on the council, I have voted on 2 TIF. One of them was to Unitech, and the other one to Hudrick.
I'm sorry, say the other one?
So far, while I've been been in council for 10 years, I'm going into my 11 years, I have brought around 2 different TIF, which is one of them was to Unitech in South Lawrence, and the other one was to Heldrick Brothers on Merrimack Street. Both of them have one particular thing, and it's to create jobs. This program specifically is for the creation of jobs, what you're applying to. Even though you're going to have maintenance personnel and people that are going to be working there, potentially, this is not an economic development project. This is a housing project. This is you creating apartments that are going to be market rate apartments. And for that specifically, we have a TIE program, which is a 5 years tax incentive program, which is the proper program for you guys to take advantage of. I have no issues whatsoever approving the 5 years TIE program on this project, but I wouldn't be in support of any other due to the fact that if we approve this as a TIF, we are not being true to ourselves saying that we are creating job, and this project is not to create jobs, it's to create housing.
It is.
If I may, so a lot of our workforce is local folks, right? The carpenters, you see, the plumbers, the electricians, they come from Lawrence. So that in itself is creating jobs. And then to highlight, there are businesses coming in. I know you highlight the residential end of this, but there are businesses going in, and there's further buildings that we plan on developing. And so those as well will have businesses. So even though we, highlight that 15, our projection is way beyond the 15, because like you said, there's a workforce, there's a staff that maintains this building, garbage disposal, snow removal, all these things that apply.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing
and
is,
then a permanent one that comes through the businesses as well that we plan on putting there. Our idea is not to just build these buildings and let them rest. I feel as though 550 Lofts, our neighbor, missed an opportunity to create a nice hub where they put delis, where they put businesses in there, where the kids can work as starting minimum wage jobs. We plan on doing that here.
At the end of the day, you're creating a 30-unit apartment.
Yeah, but that's a misuse.
Let them talk.
We won't be able to have a
That's
conversation
okay.
that way.
Council President,
Because I
finish
mean,
your
if we
statement and
keep
then
on going
we'll
that
go.
way, it's not going to
Yeah.
happen.
Council
At the end of the day, you're creating a 30-unit apartment building. That's the 90% of the space. You have 5 floors, right?
4 floors.
4 floors. 3 of them are apartments. 1 of them is commercial. You're going to rent that place. You're not creating jobs. You're renting it to someone else that is going to create jobs. Then what happened? The TIE agreement, it's designed for this. And the city of Lawrence is provide that many times for different developers that are creating housing. And that's exactly what you're doing here. You have a mixed-use unit, mixed-use building that create the majority of the space. If I go by the floor, 75% is housing. So I need to go with what I have in front of me, which is basically you're creating a building. You're building a building that is 75% that goes with one specific program, which is the TIE, and 25% of the building that go with the TIF. But it's not like you're gonna have a company there that you're gonna create a job there. You're gonna rent that place to someone else that is gonna come over. That's what we've been getting. Yes, you're gonna rent that out.
No, we never say rent it out. It's going to be a business. It's going to be owner occupied. But the question that I answered was, I'm not gonna say yes to the whole project as a youth, but once it's done, I don't want to promise something that I don't even know if I'm gonna be alive tomorrow. But yes, the plan is to develop training and also doing other things for the youth. And right now, with the LTS Academy, with only one program, it has 8 employees from the city of Lawrence. So if we add more training, we can have more employee. We can bring more employee and more jobs available. But let me tell you something. Like Benny say, it's not that we're gonna have someone to clean and put the trash. We need a secretary, we need receptionist, we need assistant, we need teacher. So that will come with that once it's done. We gotta finish the third floor, the 3rd floor that's going to be residential, and then we're gonna focus on the commercial space. But we never mentioned that we're gonna rent it out.
Okay, let me ask you a question. What is going to be the value of that building once it's finished?
I will say it's between 6 and 7 million.
Okay, out of that, we have a rate specifically in Lawrence for commercial and residential. I'll say a little over 20%, a little under 20% is the rate for commercial. We can figure that one out, looking at it online. If I give you a TIF for 15 years, a tax incentive for 15 years, basically the city of Lawrence will be paying for those 15 jobs that you're creating. And this is not the intent of that program. The intent of that program is not for the city of Lawrence to pay the employee that you're going to be creating, to pay the people that you're going to be hiring. This is not the intent of the program. The intent of the program is to have a company that come over to create jobs. And if it is housing, and then we have another program that incentivizes the developers with a 5 years incentive, which is basically, I was looking into the data because I said, I'm going to treat this fairly based on the vote that I have taken in the past. The vote that I have taken in the past for TIF, one is for Heldrick Brothers, which create hundreds of jobs, over $100,000 jobs each for welders, and the other one, Unitech, that create over 200 jobs. That is a more less educated trade, but create a lot of jobs in the city of Lawrence. Those are the two that I have voted, and I think that the city actually have approved since 2019, all the way to 2026. Those are the only two that we have approved. And that's a program to create to create jobs, economic development jobs. This is a housing, 75% of the space is for housing. We have a program for that.
I think it's because you just fixated on the one building, the one project, but you're not looking at the whole development as a whole.
I can't, because it's not in front of me. I can't give you a tax incentive based on a vision. I can't, my constituents gonna ask me, I have a dream. And they're gonna tell me, give me a TIF. Because it's not about what you're gonna do in the future. I need to evaluate in a base by base situation what I have in front of me. If a TIF is given, and trust me when I told you, not every project comes in front of the council to ask for a TIF. You guys haven't done that before. And you guys have a bunch of projects.
And we're excited to be here, just so you know.
Yeah,
that,
no, I agree.
Truth be told, this is the first. But
like
I said, have a proven track record of creating hundreds and hundreds of jobs in the city.
But right? It's not, yes, I agree with you. But it's not like because I mean, also that also bring revenue to you guys. It's not like you know what I mean? It's a win-to-win situation.
Yeah, some of the tips that even given to the project on Merriman Street, it was with the future, what they promised that they're gonna bring to the city.
Well, let me tell you something. I'm glad that you brought that up. I have only approved one on Merrimack Street because a lot of people have talked about the Merrimack Street. And I have approved only one because during my time in the council, since 2015, that's the only one that I have in front of me. And it was not a traditional one, it was to the Heldrick Brothers. That is a completely different company than what people mention or think when they mention Merrimack Street. It was not to the La Polis company. That was way before my time, and during that time, the city have a specific economic development goals, and that's why they give economic development incentive to motivate that specific area or any specific area around the city. What I'm saying is, I can't open that that situation that we're going to provide a TIF to any mixed-use development. The city, you just saw it. You just saw the fire department asking us for money because they are on their budget. They need more personnel. You just were the witness of that because we have services that we need to provide. It's not like the city of Lawrence, we are 76% dependable of state fund and federal fund. All those funds that you saw today, that you were witness of, there were grants coming to the city, and there were also a budget that we're going to have to finance, and also a rescinding of a loan that potentially we cannot afford, because that's why we didn't take that loan for $9 million. So it's a situation that in a couple of years, and I keep on telling people don't want to believe that, but in a couple of years, the city of Lawrence might go with a downfall when it comes to finance. And we have an impression that the city is doing good. Guess what? The ARPA funds provide the city of Lawrence with $58 million. The previous administration left the city with $17 million. This administration find the city with $73 million on the bank. And it's not a joke, it's there. It's information that is available to the public. But the administration keep on saying, oh, we have been the most successful administration for years. No, they find the city with $73 million. William Antigua, when he was the mayor, he found the city with $27 million on the negative. On the negative. Different than this administration. It is a situation that we've been dealing with that we believe that we are in a good shape. I personally cannot, trust me, on a mixed-use development, I cannot give a TIF for 15 years. I can definitely vote in favor of a TIE because it's a mixed-use development for housing. That 75% of your building is housing. I'm more than in favor to give a TIE, which is a 5-year tax incentive. I will say 95% of the developments in Lawrence do not get this program. 95% of the development in the city of Lawrence do not get this program. Not many. In the last 3 years, I will say it, we have approved probably 3 or 4 years, we have approved probably 5 or 6 of this program, but not many. Not everybody is looking for that. And I'm glad that you guys are here to look for that because I'm happy to provide that incentive to a company like yours that has been in Lawrence for such a long time. You guys deserve it.
I want to take this opportunity to also, it's on topic, but also off topic as well. But because you're already in front of me, I do want to take this opportunity to express, you did hear a budget review session. And you did hear about the needs within one of our biggest emergency services department. For future, I know there are more projects down the line. For the future, I hope you take what you heard today into consideration when you are planning your future projects, because I know, Maria, I am your district counselor. And the calls that I get within our districts about public safety and the necessities of my constituents, a lot of it is difficult because we're underfunded or understaffed. And that's why we're seeing a growing quality of life situations because of that, because we're growing as a city. So I'm just gonna leave you with that for the future.
Councilman Infante, I want to respond to.
Please.
I appreciate that, and we have a wonderful relationship with the fire department, the chief, all the inspectors. We invite them, we encourage them to come over to see our projects because they're going to be the ones, God forbid, in there, right? And so we want them to be familiar with the building, right?
Right. Yeah, I know we're talking about this project right now, but I think when we do have developers in front of us and you hear different point of views from the counselors, I don't think they fully understand where these concerns or these questions are coming from. And I'm glad that you did hear some of it beginning of this meeting so that you can really see and hear the actual necessity that we deal with every day as your counselors.
We appreciate it.
Well, thank you for your wall. I appreciate. But I want to answer to Mr. Council Giovanni. I know you're concerned about job creating in the city of Lawrence, but you know us for a long time. And we are one of the bigger company that hire like 80%, 90% employee from Lawrence. And between 1994 and 2020, 2022, we used to give out more than 200 W-2 in 1 year. And more than 80% were people from Lawrence resident. And we're still like that.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100% through you. I agree with you 100%. But this project, which is what we have in front of us, is a housing project. 75% of the building is for apartments.
Okay,
And the program that is related to the housing is a TIE, not a TIF. And the difference between the two is that the TIE, the TIE agreement is a 5 years tax incentive. The TIF agreement is up to 20 years tax incentive. The TIF agreement is for economic development. The TIE agreement is for housing. 75% of your project is for housing. And then eventually what's going to happen is that, and I'm going to just release the floor in a second. Eventually what's going to happen is that every project that is housing, a mixed use of housing and an open space that could be rented, they might come and say, look, we're going to create 10 jobs, 15 jobs, give us 15 years of tax incentive. Then the city of Lawrence will end up paying for those jobs, essentially, if you do the math.
May I?
Sure.
Is there a business, or however you want to put it, more important than a school than creating jobs and workforce development? Is there I don't know of a business out there that's more important than creating jobs. So I mean, just based off of the infrastructure, having 15 to 30 employees is mute when you're creating hundreds and thousands of jobs through the folks that you pass through the school, right? I mean, this in of itself is the most critical piece. And when you have Lawrence citizens, you know, that I think someone said this is a travel city. They come in, they leave, but they can leave here educated with a better opportunity coming through one of our schools. I mean, to me, this is like the existential ideal of what is creating jobs. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, and I potentially agree with what you said. But the project that I have in front of me is 75% housing.
I don't see how you can deny that's the project you have.
No. The thing is that the project that we have in front of me, the project that I have in front of me is 75% housing. It is not in a school. Yeah, it's 75% housing.
It's also 9,000 square feet of business, though.
I just want to bring up one other issue. I know that you said you've only voted on 2. You've actually voted on 3. There's one that's not on here.
But it's not on the one that you provide. Your fault. Blame it on you. Shame it on you.
Esperanza
Shame it on you then. Because if you didn't provide that information, shame it on you.
Esperanza Academy was granted a...
okay, then shame it on you for not providing that. Esperanza Academy is in a school.
Well, this is the document I was provided, so... But that was another situation, and I came down and I made an argument that economic development is more than just providing individual jobs. Economic development for a city is providing a future of jobs as well, and that was my argument for the Esperanza Academy. So I just want to point that out, that there is a precedent for this.
And no, by all means, through you, Madam Chair, by all means, you are absolutely right with the Esperanza Academy. Esperanza Academy is an institution that educate young women in the city of Lawrence that is purchasing a building with the only purpose of a school. That's the difference. If you present to me in front of me a school that is going to be, or a building that is going to be just a school and not 75% housing, and then we can definitely talk about the TIF. Because on this case, we have a TIE agreement because it's 75, it's a TIF agreement that is a 75% housing. It's a mixed use development.
But I think you're fixated more on the property, like the spacage of the property, whereas the volume, the amount of folks that you can put into that space to educate offsets the 75% every day of the week.
Yeah, but the thing is, you need to understand the
75%, the value you're adding to this, it just doesn't make sense.
Yes, because of the reporting portion of it is also a huge part of the program. When you said on that TIF agreement, you're going to create thousands of jobs because that's all the amount of people that are going to pass by that school. That's the expectation. If you not fulfill that, and then you are at fault.
But that's our track record, though.
Huh?
We've proven that already.
But I mean, you cannot ask me for a tax incentive for the next 15 years based on the last 15 years of what you have done. Because we have a 75% apartment building in front of us. We are giving you an incentive on the apartments. When only the first portion of it is going to be economic development that we don't know what is it that you're going to do on the first floor.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. We're gonna halt it right here.
Just give me
I want to know if Councilor LaPlante has something to add to the topic or something additional, and then we will go around for a second round of questioning and comments if needed. Councilor LaPlante.
Thank you. Mr. McCarthy? Mr. McCarthy? This tax increment financing agreement, did you author that? Who wrote this document?
I believe Jakari Yanoa did it he's a.
I'm sorry,
one of the
can you
principals.
repeat the question, please?
I was asking who drafted this document, the agreement?
This is a form that we have. I did not draft this, no.
Is it a city form?
It's a form that was provided by the state.
Okay, that's fine. Just one small thing, and I'm going to talk about something more significant. We don't have a Broadway street in Lawrence. There's no such animal as Broadway Street. It's Broadway.
I understand that.
And this thing is littered with Broadway Street. And if you put that in an official document, there is no Broadway Street.
Are you sure? Hold on. Are you sure this was provided by the state? Because be very careful.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is we're talking about government right now. If this was provided by the state, there would be some indicator that it is an official state document.
It is not an official state document.
Okay. So who drafted this?
It was provided. It's
Dan,
it's
give
a
us-
form. It's a form we've been using for decades. It's an agreement that I've gone over this with the Department of Education of Economic Development. They work with us on these. They provide these. This is the same form that was given to the Helfrich brothers. This is the same form that was filled out. It's identical to the Helfrich brothers application.
So when you say the office, and I apologize, Councilor LaPlante, you've been waiting, but when you say Department of Economic, you mean the State's Department?
The Executive Office of Economic Development.
Understood. Thank you. Councilor LaPlante?
Yeah, thanks. So to Mr. Guzman, there's one of my small pet peeves is that we've taken streets and started calling them different names now. People are all of a sudden are calling it Broadway Street. We don't have a Broadway street in Lawrence, we just have a Broadway. So it's a small but important detail in the document that it should not be Broadway Street, it should be 530 Broadway.
I see.
Period.
For that.
That's it.
I'll keep that in mind.
Small thing, but I hear it all the time now. I'm like, where did this come from? How did this become a thing? And it just drives me crazy. So,
It's not Ave, real close.
so if that's the only thing that drives me,
Council,
I didn't create the Broadway. I don't know. You have to go back, but that's just the way it is. Broadway, right. Okay, so to the more important, I mean, that's important, but to the more important part of it, I'm not sure if you heard some of the comments. I was talking earlier with the fire department, and if you heard this, part of the issue that I'm having, and I think it's one of the most significant issues that's facing our city today. I hate to classify things, but it's got to be in the top 3. It's housing. It's housing in our city. Not housing that we don't have enough. It's the complete opposite. We have too much housing in our city. And what I was talking to the fire department here is there's housing that's lawful and that are permitted, and there's no doubt in my mind if this passes and you go forward and you build it, this will be lawful and permitted housing. I'm convinced of that. But we also have a lot of unlawful, unpermitted, illegal apartments throughout our city. And this is not your issue. This is our issue as a city. Until we get a handle on our housing in our city, not only do we have unlawful apartments, we have a lawsuit against us as we speak, saying that the Lawrence Redevelopment Authority wants to take advantage of all these parcels, and then bulk of them are going to be used for housing, more housing. Winter's not that far away. I got a ton of phone calls from people saying I had no place to park. I got a ton of phone calls saying my roads weren't plowed through. I have not forgotten that. And I'm not going to forget that. So it's an issue. Unfortunately, you're here in front of us, and what you're trying to do is you want to get an incentive, or ask us to provide an incentive to create more housing. I don't think that we need to provide incentive. I think the economic environment is flourishing so much that individuals and companies are doing things and not needing this and still making a ton of money. And the numbers prove that out because we have a spike. So where I stand, again, I don't know much about your business or the stuff that you've done in the city, but from what I'm learning and what I understand is that you have a good reputation in our city. You've done a lot of good things in our city, and you're a successful businessman, business couple. So, but I'm not going to be able to support incentivizing more housing when we don't have, as a city, with housing, with police, with calls for service, with trash pickup, all the things that are required, parking, it goes on and on. I cannot do it. If you said to me, we're just going to deal something with non-housing and we're trying to create more jobs like the stuff you're talking about, I think I could be on board for that. I have been in the past. I think I could do that again. But when somebody, not you, anybody, brings in housing, immediately I'm like, no, this is not the time. We cannot be incentivizing this, not right now.
May I? Because I think
Sure.
I think you were super clear in your words. You also differentiate in legal, lawful housing and the unlawful housing. And I get your passion. I get where you're coming from. But I think to be clear, I mean, you should be all for legal housing and creating a safe, appropriate environment. And like I had said earlier, 550, I feel as though they missed the boat. They missed a great opportunity there where they could have created a nice development there where they had businesses and they created an environment where, people can be proud of. And, it was just an idea of what Tuscan Village, but not Tuscan Village. You know what I'm trying to get at, right? That's kind of our vision in all of this. Not losing sight that it's appropriate. It makes sense. It's needed. Whether, people are living in basements or they're living in a nice, safe, well-maintained piece of property, it makes a huge difference. It adds value. It's what you want for the city, right?
There's a difference. There's a difference as to affordability, and I mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
It's not that there's, in the city of Lawrence, and to Councilor LaPlante's point, we're the ones getting the calls from your neighbors from people that deal
We are
with
too,
every.
Ken. We're with you
I
in the
know,
battle.
I know
We're
you're-
with you in the battle because we plow, we do it all,
I
right?
know you
But
are.
let's not lose sight into
but-
what
Point
this
of order,
is.
Council President, I can't hear two people talking at the same
excuse
time.
me.
I believe you had the
Yeah,
floor.
yeah,
So
I
I
did.
want to hear what you have to say.
Thank you. So the issue at hand that we're having in Lawrence, that we get emails about, phone calls about, when we're out in the community, I'm telling you, there's not one day when I'm out in the community that I'm not hearing about housing. And it's not that they can't find housing, it's that they can't afford our housing. And that's a big difference that we're seeing. And when we had, what were the brothers' name that we had before us? The Trejo brothers. When we had the Trejo brothers in front of us, I mentioned to them, I mentioned in that discussion that every development project that has come before, not every, majority, has been market rate housing. And that adds on to the already overcapacity, the overflowing calls that we get and emails that we get as counselors. Now, and that's apartments. Now, in an area like our district, South, that has more single families, I know you guys, you live in my district. However, your time is mainly occupied by your businesses. So when I get families that are at home most of the time, dealing with the inconveniences of our rapidly growing community, that's also another headache for us. And we don't have the answers to give them because our city is growing, but the foundation of our city keeps sinking. So it's great that, and this is something that I say to every developer, it's great to have a vision. It's great to have growth and economic development if it makes sense in certain areas of the city. And however, what they're not visualizing is we're thinking about the moment, we're thinking about the return on investment for a project. But you guys eventually with us are gonna suffer the consequences of the city's foundation sinking when we're not attending to the city overall, if that makes sense. And I think a lot of the hesitation that you hear from this committee is that it's not who's in front of us. It's not. It could be about the project, but it's the overall bigger picture.
I'm trying to do the right thing. That's all right.
No, I made my point. I listened to what Mr. Guzman had to say, so I'm all set. He knows where I am. I know where he's from. We're good.
Any other? Yes, Miss.
Well, one of the things, again, like I say at the beginning, and I want to answer to Councilor Giovanni Rodriguez. Like he mentioned at the beginning that you did your homework before you come today. Obviously, you did. So my question to you is, if will be the opposite, that we do 75% job created and 25% residential, will you consider that for the TIF?
Council President.
It's just a question.
If it is a mixed use,
Yes, like 75%.
I'll stick to the point that the TIF are for job creations. And if at some point I need to evaluate that project, I need to see how much of incentive that's going to bring to the city for me to be able to make a determination.
Okay.
In the meantime, so far I have approved now 3 TIF, because one was for Esperanza Academy, and the other one was for the Holdrick Brothers and Unitech. Those two specifically were specifically for job creation, and the Esperanza Academy was specifically for a free zero tuition girls' school that has been going through a massive fundraising to be able to raise over $30 million for that school, and that was the little offer that the city provide to that project specifically. But that's the intentions. That's what they're building right now. If it is a 25% housing and 75% job creation, I will definitely go through every possibility of jobs. If it is safe, if it is a tie, by all means, because ties are for housing, and that's how we have approached that in the city of Lawrence. And my last 10 going into 11 years on the council. So I just trying to be consistent and fair, to be honest with you. And like I said, not every job, not every development is actually, it's been awarded this program before. That's the reality of that of our situation.
One last thing.
Sure.
To answer Councilor Stephanie, I know that mentioned the cost of living and how much costs to rent an apartment. I'm gonna talk, not for myself, but I'm gonna talk like my nephew. He bought a house a few years ago. He's maybe 30 years old, and he called me a few months ago telling me that his mortgage went up like 2,000. And he was, Tia, what happened? Well, let me see. Okay, so the property tax went up. So when the interest and the property tax hit the owner, they hit the rent payment. So I understand that, but more the people pay property taxes, it's killing more the residential and people that pay rent.
Thank you.
Just answer that.
Council.
You see?
Thank you.
Through you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Maria, for your explanation. Council President.
That's a great example. When we actually, in November, we take a vote, not in July, when there is a voting season for the budget, or June, not during that time. In November, we take a vote. And we know what we do? You know what we do? We actually collect or make a summary of every taxes that we're going to charge to the city. And we decide on the next year, we take a vote for the next year's distribution of taxes.
Tax levy.
We do a distribution of taxes. That's why we got to be careful with these programs, because you guys are getting an incentive, but that doesn't mean that the taxes that you produce as a new construction, that doesn't mean that we're not charging it. It's a misperception of that. We do charge that as a new construction, or we put that amount of money and said, okay, the city of Lawrence growth on the new construction by $3 million. That new construction is distributed through everybody throughout the city of Lawrence. Everybody. And that's how we do, we make a determination as of who is going to be paying the rate that we talk about on residential, which is under 10%, and also the commercial, which is under 20%. But we don't leave one penny behind at all. This incentive we gave it to anybody that requested based on the project base, we charge it to your nephew. We do. The city of Lawrence do.
I appreciate that. And the value,
you know what I mean? It's like, this is why we got to be careful with these programs. Because we do charge it for everybody, to everybody else.
Thank
And
you.
people don't know.
Thank you, Counselor. As you were saying that, something came up in my head that hasn't been asked or discussed yet. This project is it's already being constructed, correct? So my question is, or I don't know what the process, this might be a procedural question, I don't know, but why is a request being made now and not before construction started?
It's a great question, but it's kind of been mute because we can't base it off of vision. But our agreement with the bank, what we had mentioned earlier, because they're going to collect interest because they believe in the vision as well, is we stabilize this building, we get funding for the next building. We stabilize that building, we get funding for the next building. We have projected at least 3, maybe 4 renovations on this site project, on this property. The YWCA, we're gonna expand them, we're gonna make them grow because they're on board, they love what we're doing. Eventually, we wanna put a parking garage. I don't know what you guys have in your hand, so I can't speak to it, but truth be told, in 5-10 years, you're gonna see that and you guys gonna think of this moment because we're gonna make this happen. And we want you guys to be a part of it through this TIF, because truth be told, it just expedited all of this for us. And the job creations, whatever number they gave you, it's like exponential times to the power of 100.
Thank you. At this point,
And we want to do it the right way, to your point as well, at least to the best of our ability.
Thank you. You have another question?
I just want a point of clarification.
Council Marmo.
I feel like they've made, I feel stuck right now, because I feel like they're making good points, and oftentimes when we go to different cities and towns, we're like, well, why can't Lawrence have this? Why can't Lawrence have that? You know, hearing your vision, it's like, damn, you know, this, oh, I'm so sorry. It was like, these are the things that we want our residents to, like, you know, when I started as counselor, the first thing I said is I want people to come to Lawrence. I'm sick and tired of, like, yeah, it's fun to go to New Hampshire, you know, every now and then, but it's like, why is it that, you know, the Lawrence residents doesn't have what, you know, the Tuscan Village and, you know, Linfield Market, it's like we could have our own version of that. And I've always thought that Lawrence had the potential to have that. So I guess for any future projects, I also feel conflicted in terms of, well, why is it that developers aren't, I get the return on investment when it comes to the residential stuff. I understand, because I'm in that world as well. Yeah. But it's like the city needs parking garages as well. And I'm imploring you guys, considering the years of service that you guys have in this business, like, please, like, if you guys really are taking into consideration as to what the city needs, it needs a parking garage. So if that's something that you guys could kind of put a pin as like a, you know, star it,
priority,
star in our
priority.
emails, red flag that, red
God
flag
bless
that.
you, because this would help. That would help.
But let me okay.
No,
but
go ahead.
But I want to segue into, you know, I pride myself in making decisions of, like, you know, if I'm gonna say yes to it, it's because it went. You guys fall according to being able to receive this TIF. So my question is directed to our council president, and I kind of open up the discussion for others to chime in educating me. So, Council President, you said the TIE is for housing, TIF is for economic development. So for properties that are mixed use, where it's a combination of both, for a TIF, is there anything within the language that a property has to have a minimum of X, Y, and Z units of
That's
housing?
Director McCarthy question.
Director McCarthy then. For them to qualify for the TIF.
If you look at the if you look at the spreadsheet in front of you,
Do they fall?
some of the more recent projects
Do they qualify to receive this TIF? And if so, does the TIF have anything within their language that says that they have to develop, you know, the scope of the work has to consist of a minimum of X amount in residential and a minimum of X amount in economic
there's
development?
there's no language specifying the spread on how much.
So we have to define what economic
so
development is
we have
considered
actually
for each project.
Correct. So we have actually passed TIF agreements for projects that were 100% housing. No, the job creation was 2 or 3 jobs maintaining the building. We gave a 15-year TIF to 282 Merrimack Street, 350 Merrimack Street, and 250 Merrimack Street. One of those buildings is...
No, before you do that,
Counselor.
That was in 2010, and then 2023. So
2023 was not a TIF.
that was a...
Wait. Point of clarification.
That was a
Point of
tie.
clarification. 2023, it was not a TIF.
It was a
What
tie.
was it?
It was a tie. You see,
Counselor.
Guys, let's pause. Sure.
You're creating confusion because people are
All
going
right,
to believe
then
that
I
we
won't
have
speak,
done
you
this
know?
before.
I'm reading from the spreadsheet.
All right, so let's backtrack. 2023.
So the answer is you don't need any.
It was not a TIF. 2023.
Okay, 2023 wasn't a TIF. You're explaining, Director McCarthy, that within the language of a TIF, there are no specific requirements in the language as to what determines economic development project.
That's correct.
Okay, and this is something that we were to look it up, we can cross-reference what you're saying tonight with reading that online.
That's correct.
Okay. Counselor Marmol?
No, this was, I wanted to open up to like anyone else that's knowledgeable regarding the TIF and the ties. So if any of my colleagues have experience in approving TIFs, was it ever discussed in terms of the scope of the work had to be of a certain way in order for them to qualify? I don't know if I'm speaking in a way where it makes sense what I'm asking.
I'm gonna first look at Counselor LaPlante to see, because he hasn't spoken as much. Do you have any, it's okay if you don't. You're good?
I just can't remember
Okay.
all the dates. I got the spreadsheet.
Counselor, your mic is off.
My mic is off and people prefer that. I just don't recall. I see a bunch of Merrimack Street ones, for example. I know that there's the Riverwalk is at that time, but according to the spreadsheet, these things were voted on in 2008, according to the spreadsheet. So,
So,
but
you don't recall.
That's the bottom line.
Council President.
Well, through you, Madam Chair, I will tell you the relationship between a tie and a TIF. If a TIF within the a 5 years period of tax incentive, I'm more than happy with that. You know why? Because now we're combining what is for economic development and what is for housing with the specific of the tax incentive that is on the benefit of the applicant, but is also on the hands of everybody else in the city of Lawrence. So if we combine the two projects, because it's a mixed use project, what we can do is do a combination of both, doing a modified TIF with a 5 years benefit and different incentive on the specific amount that is going to be deducted or benefit for the applicant. So a tie agreement is well defined on the schedule. It's a 5 years with a specific percentage to be adopted. We don't get to define that schedule of discount taxes. On the TIF agreement, we do. The TIF agreement, we have the ability to negotiate with the other party to be able to get into a specific amount that is going to benefit the project for economic development. If we get into a point that we said, okay, let's do a 5 years agreement, which is the combination of or the common denominator of both programs, and then a negotiation around the scheduling of the benefit, I'm more than happy with that. Independently on how we come up with the numbers, I have no problem whatsoever. As a matter of fact, to be honest with you, from the get-go, I keep on saying I'm on favor of providing a tax incentive. The difference we have on the two programs is the timing. The TIF is all the way up to 20 years. The tie is up to 5 years. If we do a tie or a TIF for 5 years, I'm more than happy with that. 100%.
Councilor Marmol, so you asked the question, you got your colleagues to respond. How are you good? Because you have the primary floor.
Okay. From what I'm hearing and the responses, there was no clear-cut clarity in terms of it. Just the way I'm understanding it is there is no language, and we're using our discretion when we make these decisions. If I'm not mistaken, Okay.
again, I just wanted to make sure that if there was specific language where they do qualify for a TIF, like, I just want to make sure we're not arguing whether they qualify or not. You know, if the language states that the scope of the work, minimum in order for them to qualify for a TIF is that they only need one commercial space, then, I didn't want to get into like the nitty gritty of arguing whether they qualify or not. Because, Council President, you did mention that due to the fact that the work consisted of the majority of it included residential
75%.
units.
Three out of
But the
out of
language
four
itself
floors.
doesn't necessarily dictate that it has to be less than that or more than that. It just,
Well, to be honest with you,
Council President.
through you, Madam Chair, to be honest with you, what I'm seeing is based on what I have approved in the past is that the TIF is for creating jobs. The program is designed to create jobs. Whether or not they have the loophole within the law, we're not here to play loopholes. We're here to represent the constituents that are actually going to pay those taxes. Because the tax incentive we're given are going to be paid by someone else, by the rest of the community. And that's on every aspect. If we have, like I said, when we have new development, it's not that the new development is going to pay taxes on the amount of. No, that is distributed within, and that's the vote that we take on November, that we distribute the taxes based on commercial and based on residential. But every taxes need to be distributed on there and trickle down into people's pocket, like essentially. So that's basically what I seen. And also my thinking behind the whole thing around the TIF is that if the value of that property is going to be $6 million and we're providing 90% tax incentive for 3 years, they only going to pay 10% of the taxes that they are supposed to be paying. And the rest of it is going to be paid by the rest of the community. That's the reality of the tax incentive. That's why we need to be careful that at least we're producing jobs when it comes to the TIF agreement. At least we're producing jobs to supplement the other taxes that we are not acquiring by the development itself. We do want economic development, but not to a point that we're going to pay for those jobs at the end of the 15 years.
Okay, so at this point, we're getting repetitive on each councilor's point of view. I think each of us have made our comments and our questions very clear. One thing that has been brought up, though, is the timing, the length. And I do want to hear from you guys whether the last time this was in front of us, I forget her name, your partner. Jacaira was very adamant of the length for the tax incentive. And she gave her proposal on it and her pitch on it. But now we have two different members of the business, and I would like to hear your point of view on this specific comment or concern, I should say.
Well, I don't want to add anything else to everything was already told. But I will say, I'm more sure that in less than a year, we're going to create the parking lot than creating 50 jobs opportunity for 70, because that is something that we know that we need as an employee, like we come every day on Broadway, so that is the plan. And in 516, the plan is to do a remoderation so the YWCA can expand, and we're going to do some kind of like a small business space. In order to do that is why we came to ask for the TIF. Going back to Mr. President Giovanni Rodriguez.
So what we're doing is, because I don't want to
Yeah,
continue this discussion.
No, I just have
further,
a question. If he's saying, like, okay, let's do 5 years, and I know, as mentioned before, that it doesn't say it has to be 50%, 25%, but also it doesn't mention how many jobs need to be. So it is your decision when you say yes or you will say no. But if you say, like, let's see, 5 year, X amount, and then gradually go up, it will be appreciated. But
Can
it's,
you repeat that again?
Counselor,
I wasn't able to understand.
go ahead.
Can you repeat that again very quick?
okay, I say that it doesn't mention how many jobs we need to create as far as job creating. Obviously, more that we create is going to be more insensitive for you to approve based on what you say. But the other thing is, it doesn't say what percent of the property need to be for job opportunity. If you are considered today to approve 5 years and then going gradually, we are not here to ask for 20 years. We are not here to ask for 10 years. We are here to ask a request that we as a resident and also employee in the city, in this community, that we think that we need to be here in order to be heard and to get the opportunity. We cannot get the opportunity sitting in the house or in the office and let that happen. So we're doing what we need to do in order to ask this request. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. So if I'm hearing this correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, are you proposing this committee, you're saying that you are okay with a TIF agreement of 5 years for now?
Yes.
And then to come back to this board if needed to negotiate the next 5 years?
Yes.
I don't know I don't know how that works procedural wise.
Yeah, the way that, it can be made by a friendly amendment, if it's everybody's willing. I think that's the proper procedure. The way TIFs are set up, they're usually very heavy in the front because that's the time period where the investment is mostly tenuous. And as later on, as you establish, the TIF goes down. I had, at the last meeting, I had recommended, when we were discussing going to 10 years, taking the last 5 years off, but they stuck with it. I think a good compromise, I think because there is a commercial investment here as well, that if it was a 5 year at the same rates that we're seeing now, that might be a compromise that would suit everybody.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not voting for that.
Councilors, we heard a middle ground compromise from our Director of Planning and Development. In my opinion, I like it. I think I'm all about meeting in the middle ground, where we can see where things go. I don't know how the rest of my colleagues feel, but I am looking, if there's any agreement with that, I am looking for someone to make a friendly amendment to this
What is
contract.
the motion?
The motion is,
It's the motion. What is the agreement? Is it 5 years or 10 years?
so the middle ground would be the 5 years. Can you repeat it, the 5 years?
To have the amendment agreed, modified to a 5 year term, but at the same numbers that are presented.
5-year
5
term.
years term at
With
the
the
same
same rate,
number,
with
at
the
the
same
same
rate.
rate. No, because the
Counselor,
design.
you keep
Through
speaking
you.
out of order.
Through you, Madam Chair.
Council President.
You don't have to raise your voice.
Well, if it was you in the city
wouldn't
council
raise it.
full time, you would
I
not
wouldn't
appreciate
raise
it.
No,
So
I
the
wouldn't, but I
agreement-
wouldn't raise my voice. What is the agreement? If you have a TIF of 15 years, what is the schedule that you're talking about if it is a reduction to 5 years? So
right-
tell me the schedule, because
So the
I
sch-
write something down. Tell me.
So the
I want to
schedule would
understand.
be, using the same schedule, just take the last 10 years off. It would be the first year 90, 80, 70, 60, and 50. So after the fifth year, under the agreement anyways, they were going to be paying 50% of the full taxes under the current agreement. As you see, that's the way all the TIFs work.
70,
It's, if you look at, on the chart, you'll see some of them, they had 5 years at 100%. So they are paying their share going forward. But those first couple of years are the key years, and again, they're talking about reinvesting funds. So that's, I think, is important.
So the schedule through you, Madam Chair, will be a 5 year TIF with 90, the first year, so 90%, 10% tax that they're gonna pay. On the second year, they're gonna pay 20%. On the third year, they're gonna pay 30%. And the fourth year, they're gonna pay 40%. and on the 5th year, they're gonna pay 50%. And after that, they're gonna pay 100%.
Yes.
Okay, I have no problem with that.
Director McCarthy, thank you for the solution. I do want to add to this. So I'm going to recommend this committee to send this up as a favorable recommendation with the conditions that discussed. And I'm also going to add to request a legal opinion from the city attorney to look it over to ensure that we covered all our bases. On my end, I'm all about meeting in the middle. I'm seeing you guys are good with that, so that's what I'm going to request.
I
A
like you guys.
Motion favorable recommendation, 5-year TIF with the current TIF rates, and also a final legal opinion from the city attorney. Motion has been made. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Seconded by Council President. Final remarks. Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays?
No?
Maria, can you please call the roll? Your mic is off.
Councilor Vice Chair Vivian Marmol.
Yes.
My battery's dead.
You wanna borrow mine?
It came back alive. Apologize for that. Councilor Mark LaPlante.
No.
Councilor President Giovanni Rodriguez.
Yes.
And Councilor Chair Stephanie Fan.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Motion
Right?
carries.
Did you call your vote?
Yeah, I voted, yes,
okay.
yeah. Motion carries. This is going out for the final round of approval to the full
So
council.
I'll provide
April-
you the amended
April
agreement.
7th.
I'll try and get it done by tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
you have it for next week.
Thank you.
And
April
through you,
7th.
Madam Chair.
Council President.
Can you clarify and update also the list of TIF and tie that you sent before with all, can you please also update the tie and the TIF agreement spreadsheet that you sent before?
I will. I'll ask. I don't produce it. It comes from the assessor's office. I'll ask them to.
Yeah, just make sure that we got it all, because you mentioned another one.
Yeah, I think, I noticed the Trejo brothers aren't on there either.
Yeah, okay, so they have a tie.
That's a tie.
And we just have the latest one we approved. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So April 7th, we'll see you at the full council. Councilors, before we leave, can I have a motion to send item 79-26, the year-to-date budget review fire department, as a withdrawal to the full council?
So, second.
Motion has been made by the vice chair, seconded by council president. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Also, can I have a motion to untable item 78-26, year-to-date budget review police department?
So move.
Motion has been
Thank you.
made to untable, seconded by the vice chair. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Now, can I have a motion to send this item as a withdrawal to the full council?
So move.
Motion has been made.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion has been made by the council president, seconded by the vice chair. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Now can I have a motion to adjourn?
So move. Second.
Motion has been made by the vice chair, seconded by the council president. All those in favor say aye. Aye, the ayes have it.